All right, I'm recording now, so you'll all get a recording. I know when I was in the field a lot, and I've been out of the field a lot now since COVID and since I had my cancer, but I'm back in the field now till I got this throat thing, but give it another 3 or 4 days and I'm going to be back in the field. My throat's doing real well. But anyway, I know I got people that what they would do with me, and you ladies and gentlemen, what they're going to do with you is they're going to tell you these long-winded stories. You know, I got this project going, Stop. Bob, or Pamela, stop. Listen to me, stop. And then what you do is you just take charge right there and you say, look, A, you got to be in business 6 months at least. B, we take 6-month bank statements, no tax returns. C, the story doesn't matter. So whatever you ladies and gentlemen do not write me or my staff or underwriting my staff a story, because you're wasting your time. In fact, it goes back to you wasting your time listening to their story. No story matters, and your best bet is to stop it. Like, we had a walk-in at the office. And the walk-in at the office, 2 weeks ago, 2.5, 3 weeks ago, and the guy started talking, and he's like, and I'm going to, and then finally I was like, stop. Chris, just give me a minute. Please stop. I don't want to appear rude, but no matter what you say, you're not going to influence me, and you're not going to influence our underwriting team. We need 6-month bank statements. We need the application filled out and signed and dated. We'll have an answer to you in 1 to 2 days. And if you can do that, you'll save yourself just so many hours. It's unbelievable in storytelling. There's a reason they're telling you this story is they've been turned down elsewhere. And A, and B, I think that if they tell you the story, that you'll be able to give them an answer. Well, you can't give them an answer. You can't give them an answer, okay? The only way you're ever going to get an answer is you've got to get the file through underwriting. So when you're first new at this, it's really hard for you to be in this position where you've got that strength to be able to say, Tammy, I don't want to appear rude for interrupting you, but no matter what you tell me, it's not going to matter. And no matter what you tell me, underwriting will not accept an email from me with a letter explaining your story. And they're just going to kind of look at you like, you're kidding me, right? And go, I apologize, but that's the way this works. The story is your 6-month bank statements and your application, signed and dated. And then our staff's going to go to work online and find out who you are. That's the story. And we're going to build the story. You're not going to build the story for us. It's already been built. Think about it, folks. It's already been built by their bank statements, their application, and what they've done out in the world. Have they been arrested? Have they got mug shots? If so, what for? We don't work with pedophiles. We don't work with, like as an example, we had a guy here a year and a half ago that had 9 DUIs. That's okay with us. That doesn't bother us. But what bothered us was on his 10th DUI, he was going to automatically do 25 years in the state he lived in. And we had done the research on it, or my legal team, and had found that out. So what we did, we didn't say no. What we did was we made sure that there was someone that was a shareholder that could run the company when he was in the big house, in jail. And in this case, he had the nuclear family environment. He was married. She owned 40% of the company. He owned 60%. And we were absolutely fine with her running the company while he was in jail in the event that he went to jail. So these are character-driven loans. So hopefully that helps you, ladies and gentlemen, that are listening to people that are telling you these stories, because believe me, they want to tell you the story. Any questions about what I just went over or anything else? Go for it.
Yes.
No, but I have a...
Yes.
Okay, go ahead.
Go, Linda.
Okay, mine's going to be long. Hi. I just emailed you this morning. Hi, I'm Linda from Arizona. I have
second day in a row with the story, right?
Well, it's not really a story. I have very strong people. If you could see who I deal with, and you could see what the number one podcaster follows me. Okay, I'm looking at for quick funding. I already have a lot of my tiny homes already in place with the manufacturers. They all have their own lenders, but
hold on. You're telling me a story. What you got to know is this. Is I don't care about the story. What I care about is this. A, is it a business doing business?
Yes.
B, have they been in business at least 6 months?
Yes.
Okay. Because the moment you mention tiny homes, now our brains start to think, okay, mortgage. These are not mortgages. But they can buy a home with these. That's the cool part about it.
That's the part.
Yep.
I have a doctor coming in this week. He's buying 10 just for his personal. We're putting together with grant writers for the homeless people, but we're doing other things too. And I've done this before with a veteran housing project. So I just wanted to make sure if I bring somebody, like a doctor or somebody else who wants, 12 homes and he wants them in 5 days, 4 days for the cash. That's what I'm looking for. And that's why I would like to introduce
that doctor would need, we would need the doctor's bank statements from whatever business he or she has for 6 months. And that's how they would qualify. Yep.
Okay.
And so a doctor could build out properties for homeless people, tiny homes, fine. It doesn't matter. When they start talking about land acquisition, fine.
Oh, no.
We don't hold title. They can do anything they want with the loans. We don't hold title. They can do anything they want with the loans. They want to buy 30, tiny homes with $1 million because they qualify for $1 million, and so be it. Absolutely, so be it. Yeah.
Okay.
That's the thing I can tell you. I can tell you all that the variety of what they can do with this money versus a bank is just exponential, and that's when they really get excited. Yeah, the gentleman that said, "Hey, Brett, go ahead."
Yes, sir. I may just be a little slow on some of this terminology or just the idea of what we're doing, but
don't worry about it.
Is there a C to what you were saying? You had A, is it doing business? B, have they been in business for 6 months? Is there a C?
And then just the application filled out and signed and dated to the best of their ability.
Gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah, and really what you're just talking about, brother, is unbelievably important that you tell them that. That is the feature that gets them every time is speed. You need to say, we need 6-month bank statements out of you for your most recent 6 months. We need the application filled out and signed and dated. And we do not need tax returns. We do not want financials. We do not want a balance sheet. We do not want a profit and loss statement. And they're just going to look at you like, what the hell is this? It's unsecured working capital. That's what it is. And it takes 1 to 2 days. Nobody's looking at financials. Nobody's looking at a credit report. In fact, we pull credit report less than 2% of the time. So, great question. Thank you very much. All right. Anyone else? Go ahead.
Is the capital secured, did you say?
It's unsecured. So I haven't gone over that this week. So a lot of you don't know what unsecured means. What that means is this money is unsecured. What does that mean versus secured? Again, this money is unsecured. What does that mean versus secured? What it means is we don't hold title to their boat or their truck or their car or their house or their commercial building or a Rolex watch. All right, you go into a pawn shop, you give them a Rolex watch, they give you cash. That loan is secured by that Rolex watch. You go to a bank, you get a loan for your business, and they're going to want security. They're going to want it secured. So they're going to take out a CD with your money for 180 grand. If you're going to get 180 grand, they're going to securitize it with 180 grand of your savings or your 401k, or they're going to have some sort of collateral, like another home that you own, or vehicles, or a boat, or a plane, and you're going to pledge that title for that, and that's a secured loan. Our loans are unsecured. So easily you can follow up that statement that I just made that was long-winded with, okay, well, is there any recourse on this? Now, many of you don't know what the word recourse means. It's very simple, meaning, do we have the ability to go after them and get this money back? Any recourse? Do we have the ability to go back and get this money from them somehow? No, we do not. This money's unsecured. It's gone with the wind. Simple as that. Okay, Brett, one last question for you. If they default on the loan and they don't make their payments, called a default, does my commission get taken back from me? No, it does not. Of the companies in the industry, there's not one company other than us that does not take your commission back. And the reason behind that is I was in the field, I did what you're doing, and I said to myself, I went through a real bad situation in the 80s where we used a very large life insurance product for an estate, and they clawed back our commission. And I was told when I got this commission by one of our elders, by Bardell Bailey, don't spend that money for a year, because that is a large commission. It was over $100,000 between us two new guys that landed this. And my buddy spent all the money, and somewhere in that first 6 months, they clawed back our commission because the person quit making payments on their life insurance policy monthly, and it destroyed him. He lost his career. They chased him for years. He had to pay that commission back. So it just left this indelible impression on me. My theory is this: if my underwriting team underwrites your file, your customer, and they make a mistake, it's on them if they've done a poor job of underwriting and not seeing that this person's going to rip us off. It's on them. It's not on you. So we don't take back your commission. So anyway, all right. Anyone else? Any questions? Go ahead.
Anybody, or how do people handle when we ask them for their bank statements?
Well, now that you've asked me in the manner in which you have, you're going to have a lot of problems with it. It's a very interesting thing. I work with ladies and gentlemen all day long, and I can tell you that if you think that they're going to have problems giving you information, they will. That's called a self-fulfilling prophecy. And I want you all to study those 3 words. I want you to understand that it took me a long, long, long time to understand why you ladies and gentlemen's predecessors were having this difficulty. But what it did was it made me a much better trainer. Happened about 5 years ago. Look at the screen. A self-fulfilling prophecy is a prediction that becomes true because you expect it to happen. I'm going to say it again. A self-fulfilling prophecy is a prediction that the business owner is going to have a problem giving your information because you expect it to happen. And so here's the trip about it. It's very bizarre. But what we do in our sentence structure and what we do in our actions, retroactive, when we look at ourselves in third person or from outside looking in, we realize it's us that's causing them to do and say the things that they are doing and saying in return. I mean, think about it. You can actually set someone up to answer you in a certain manner. You think about it. You can actually do it. You can actually do it. Has anyone ever done it? Everyone's seen it done with their own children, their wife, their husband. You can get them to they're very predictable. And you can get them to respond in a certain manner based off how you presented the information or based how you've said the information, the words you've used in the information. Anyone understand? Anyone understand what I'm talking about here at all?
Yes,
Yeah.
NLP.
Yeah.
Say that again. Say that again, NLP.
NLP.
Mm-hmm. Can you tell us what you mean by that?
Neuro-linguistic programming.
Yes. 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 Now, you've heard people talk about what they call an assumptive close, some of you, okay? I've been told over and over again by people from the car industry, they call them car dogs, that I'm an assumptive closer. But it's really not true. What I am is I don't care. And if I don't care, they don't care. I got to tell you something right now. You offer me $1 million today, in 1 to 2 days, unsecured, I'm in. Let's go. I don't know what to tell you, but let's go. Because I got to tell you, that's what I do. I take money and I make money off of it. Okay? So I'm taking the money. And you say to me, well, are you concerned about the rate? Are you kidding me? You know what I could make on $1 million right now? 50, 60, 70% on my money all day long, every day, annually. So, no, there's no concern here. Charge me 25%. Charge me 30%. Charge me 40%. I don't care. Let's go. If I get charged 40% and I make 56%, I've made 16%. 16% a year. Anyone ever heard of the rule of 72?
Yes.
Sure. So money doubles every 12 years at 6%, or it doubles every 6 years at 12%. 12 times 6 is 72. So I live by the rule of 72. And I don't want my money doubling every 12 years. I want it doubling every 6 years. I'm ahead of the curve then. And these entrepreneurs will know these things. You won't know these things, okay? But what you need to know about these entrepreneurs is they don't care. So that's why I make it very clear that the people that make it big in this industry, $750,000 the first year, are people who do not analyze. You people that analyze, you people that overanalyze, you're going to be in this predictive environment called a self-fulfilling prophecy. Now, look, I can tell you all something right now. A lot of you have heard the words self-fulfilling prophecy, but you never sat there with a six-pack of beer or a full bottle of wine, red or white, or, whatever your poison is, and just psychoanalyze this over and over and over again, because make no mistake about it, the reason your husband responds the way he does after all these years, the reason your wife responds the way she does after all these years, the reason your partner responds like he or she does after all these years, the reason your children respond like they do after all these years. Like I told my wife this last weekend, I'm like, what are you doing? I was on the phone. And that little interjection was doubt. And that created a very predictive environment out of Travis. And he jumped down your throat and put his boot up your ass. And then you found yourself in a contentious environment like you have since you were a little girl. When are you going to learn? She said, God, I didn't know. I just don't notice. I go, I know you don't notice it. But you've got to understand. It's if this, then that. If this, then that. If this, then that. If this, then that. If you say this, I do that. If you say that, I do this. If this, then that. If this, then that. If this, then that. And you just pass it on, and then you look at me and you're like, I just constantly get the same result. And it's like, that's because your response is identical every time. For me, just to let you know, I don't care about interest rates. So they don't care. So if you care, they're going to care. I don't care about the terms of the loan. So they don't care. But if you care, they're going to care. I don't care how long your company's been. Listen to me for a second. Stop, everybody. I'm not going to say to you, where does this money come from? Who cares? It's green. Let's roll. Who cares? I don't care where it comes from. It doesn't matter. Wire transfer it to me. Give me a contract. Let's go. I don't care. I don't have to care. I don't have to care. It's not as though there's some document that says you have to know where this money comes from. I mean, I don't know what it is, but every once in a while we get that person, and it's always an analytical that's like, well, I need to know where the money comes from. It's like, it's Wall Street money. It's JP Morgan. It's Deutsche Bank. It's European markets. Where does that money come from? Hey, man, I can tell you right now, those are the largest money launderers on the face of the planet. Can I get an amen? Someone give me an amen.
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 JP Morgan, are you kidding me? They didn't stay alive because they were clean. They get fined every single solitary year. Hundreds of millions, if not billions of dollars, and by God, they're still in business. It's because they're a group of crooks. I don't care what you tell me. I don't care what you tell me. You may think you know what's going on out there, but you're wrong. JP Morgan is full of a bunch of crooks. I can go on for hours. Wells Fargo, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, had this kid in our Milwaukee Oak Grove branch, and he was talking to me, and he's like, well, we can open you a CPA account, we can open you this type of account, this type of account. Anyone remember when Wells Fargo got taken down with it was like $13 billion in fines, because what they were doing, all these people, was they were getting this extra $50 if they opened a new account, for an additional account for you. So they were open. You'd go in the bank and they'd open 3 accounts for you. You didn't need 3 accounts. You didn't need 7 accounts. It's a group of crooks all the way throughout the entire system. It's the whole reason why, to be honest with you, I started saying to myself, I don't want to be with these crooks. I don't want to be with these crooks. But I can tell you right now, we get money from JP Morgan, and I know where that money's coming from. That's why, for me, it is so exciting to see that somebody is finally in the hen house looking at our books for the United States. Because if you don't know it, we are a business. We were founded by people who came over here that were commissioned by merchant ships. I mean, you realize, folks, we arrived on merchant ships, our great-great-great-great-grandparents. We arrived on merchant ships. Anyone know what a merchant is? What is a merchant? Anyone?
Yes.
A business.
Someone bringing you.
It's a business. Yeah, it's a business. It's a business. That's what it is. An entrepreneur, a group of entrepreneurs, and they sent us over here. And trust me, folks, those people were indebted to them. They were indebted to them. And so they got commission, they got a ship, they got a crew, and they came over here. But they had a responsibility. They had to answer to somebody back east, overseas in Britain, England, London. And I can tell you right now, the genesis of all this money is dirty. Most of it, it's dirty. Now, let's talk about this for a moment. I always get a kick out of this. People say to me, they're like, well, is this your money? Yeah, my money started it. My ex-wife brought in her portion of the estate also. And now what we use, we've got that pledged and it's locked up, and then we live on credit. Well, where does Bank of America get its money? Does anybody know?
Fed.
That's part of it.
Lending out,
But
lending out more
don't
money.
they really get their money from their depositors? Isn't that really where they get their money? Let's be honest with one another, right?
Yeah.
Everybody agree? Everyone agree?
Fractional banking.
You're stupid. You're stupid enough. I'm stupid enough to give them my money. Look at the founder right here. This is William Fargo on the screen. On March 18, 1952, our founders, Henry Wells and William G. Fargo, built an innovative startup to help customers build businesses and manage money in rapid changing world. Imagine if I came to you and you were on your farm in 1852 and I said to you, hey, I've got an idea. My name's William Fargo, by the way. I've got an idea. Yeah, what's up? I'm pretty busy plowing my field. Well, what I'd like you to do is I'd like you to give me your money. Well, why would I give you my money? Because it'll be a lot safer with me than it will with you. Yeah? You think? Uh-huh. I got a concrete building down here, or I got a wooden building down here with security. You no longer have to bury your money in a jar in the backyard or put it in a, hole in a tree somewhere or wherever you've got your money under the mattress, this type of place. And so excuse my language, folks, but I got to tell you something. This must have been the greatest con men on the face of the planet that started these banks, the Rothschilds and etc. Okay? Look at me for a moment and understand. Some idiot said, here's my $100. Really seriously, call me today and say to me, hey, Brett, I don't think your money's safe where it's at. Come over and see my facility and give me your money. I would be like, no, I'm not giving you my money, for God's sakes. But we did. Our forefathers did. Or their forefathers gave them their money. And what did they do? What did William Fargo do? What did Mr. Wells do? They started borrowing against the depositors' money. Anyone agree?
Yeah.
That's what they did. That's what they did. They took your money and they leveraged it. They had the audacity. They had the audacity to say, "This is my money, and I'm going to borrow against it." I mean, you understand these credit tranches. I mean, you go back and you watch these movies based on what happened in 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010. Prior to that, 2006, 2005, 2004, what was going on out there is these people were stepping on this money and they were borrowing against depositors' money, not one time, but 2 times and 3 times and 4 times and 5 times. They were never going to get this money back. Greed entered in. It was the biggest Ponzi scheme, like Bernie Madoff, as an example. They're living on your and my money. And so I'm very careful with where I get this money, but I can tell you right now, I fully understand, as do my money buyers, that this money could be coming from sources like, back in the day, Pablo Escobar. I use his name only because he's probably one of the more famous cartel members out there. But people don't realize that this guy was investing in stocks and bonds and other things in the United States, property, and throughout the rest of the world. It's one of the wealthiest people in the world at the time. So you could have easily been part of his money or his, capital. So when people say, where does this money come from? It's Wall Street money. That's what it is. It's Wall Street money. So we were the original depositors, my wife and I, and we borrow against that money with our hedge fund. Initially, we could get $3 to every $1 we put in, or $3 million to every $1 million we put in. Now we can get anywhere from $19 million for every $1 million we have in to $21 million to every $1 million we have in. But this is probably not information you want to be dishing to the business owner. Because the more information you provide to the business owner, the more confused they become, A, and B, the more questions they're going to ask. So brevity is the key in your sales pitch. And I'm going to be going over sales pitches right and left today. Those of you that want scripts, those of you that want sales pitches, I'm going to be going over those today over and over and over again, left and right from all different angles. So when I get done, you're going to be able to say to yourself, my God, I get it now. Because one of the things that I've found, and it took me 30 years before I found it, was that what was wrong with me, and I can't begin to tell you folks how many people I had to talk to get business, to get them to do business with me. Look at the screen and understand, because I was taught by people like Jordan Belfort, but not Jordan Belfort, but people like him. I was taught by people like Carnegie and Tony Robbins to ask close-ended questions. Anyone ever heard of a close-ended question?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's really hard for us to conceptualize what a close-ended question is. But the long and the short of it, to paraphrase, a close-ended question is just this. Do you want to go on a date or not? That's it. She says yes, or she says no. Or he says yes, or he says no. Now you say to me, what the hell's that got to do with loans? Okay, well, if you don't understand my analogy, here we go. Do you want to do this loan with me or not? Yes or no? That is a close-ended question. So what you're not going to be involved in with me as we go forward is rejection, which is the number one thing that scared the crap out of all salesmen and saleswomen, is rejection. It's the number one reason why I could not ask or would not ask Tammy LaFera out, or Wendy Qualls out, or Brenda Feldman out, or Brenda Hall out, or Dawn Wilson out, these kids when I was growing up, when I was a kid, because I was afraid of rejection. That's it. I had no problem when they asked me to the Sadie Hawkins dance. When the girl asked the guy out, I had no problem with rejection, because there was no rejection there. They were asking me out. So when you're going to ask these people out, what you're going to do is you're not going to ask them, do you want to go out with me? Do you want to do a loan with me? I'm going to teach you scripting that allows you not to have to ask the question, do you want to do this or not? And it's going to be something, when I do it, you're going to say to yourself, you've got to be kidding me. It really can't be that simple. It actually is this simple. And so think of it like this. You've been trying to start my Ford truck with your Toyota keys all these years. Your Toyota key is not going to start my Ford truck, and my Ford key is not going to start your Toyota truck. But what if I gave you my Ford truck? After all these years of you trying to open the doors to success, and I just handed you the key, and you walked up, you're downtrodden, you're beat up, you've heard the no's all your life, and all of a sudden you stick the key and you're like, what the hell just happened? The door just opened right up. Well, that's because you had the right key. Like a janitor. Imagine if you were a janitor in charge of a campus with 1,192 different doors. They all have different keys, do they not? The gymnasium has a different key than the front door to the administration office. The principal's office has a different key. The administrative people each have a different key. The dean has a different key. the biology teacher has a different key, and that janitor has keys to all those rooms because he or she, they are cleaning the rooms. But you ain't getting in the biology room with the key for the dean of the college. It's not going to work. So you're standing there with 1,100, 1,200 keys trying to get these keys to work. And that's what I find with young people that come onto this platform. It's like, oh, hold on a minute. There's two things you're doing that you're not going to be doing going forward. You're no longer going to be in a situation where you're slopping keys in the keyhole to see if it works. And you're no longer going to be using those ingredients that you've used in the past. Because if you use the same exact ingredients this time as you have up until now, you're going to end up with the same results. That's the definition of insanity. Doing something over and over again in the exact same manner and yet expecting different results than what you've been experiencing up until now. So you can't afford to be the same person that you've been up until now. So if you're analytical up until now, and that's why you're not where you want to be financially speaking, you're going to have to remove that analytical nature. That skepticism is going to have to disappear. And you can do that. I mean, Brad Pitt does it every day. Look at his movies. Take a look at Jennifer Aniston and watch her. They act. They act. And that's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to act like you don't care. And if you don't care, they don't care. But the moment you care, they will care. Anyone ever experienced this before, what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
You go in your home, you're 13 years old, you lie to your dad, you lie to your mom, and you're praying that they don't catch you. It's written all over your face. Haven't we heard that term before? Anyone? It's written all over their face. Agreed, everyone? Agreed?
Agreed.
Yes.
It's written all over their body language. What they say, how they act. Everybody has a tell. Everyone has a tell. Sit down at a poker table and watch those people. Stop, as much as you hate poker, and watch these tournaments and listen to the people commentating, and they'll tell you to watch him. This is his tell. He starts doing this with his chips, or he lowers his glasses. Oftentimes, what do? They have a hat on. The hat's over the top of their eyes, and then they've got dark shades on. Why are they doing that? Because they don't want you to pick up on their tell. They don't want to see the reaction of their pupils. You realize there are people who can read your pupils. My next-door neighbor was an FBI agent growing up. And I had a psychiatrist that coached me also named Mr. Brown. And pretty soon I started to realize when I go up to the front door and Mr. Bagley would say to me, hey, can you, or Mrs. Bagley, hey, my husband's not here right now. Can you come back tomorrow? And I could tell by her body language, like, he's obviously there. You're lying to me. You're lying to me. What is this about? Well, you know what it's about. She doesn't want me talking to him right now because she knows I'm going to try and sell him a subscription. Money's probably tight. She knows if I get to him, he's the type of person that can't say no. So that's what they do. They put you off. Well, I was the type that would show up the next night, and the next night, and the next night. And the next thing you know, it'd break them down. And eventually I'd get the business from Mr. Bagley. So there's a tell always with these people. What you want to do is you want to make sure you don't have a tell. And I'll tell you how to get the tell or get rid of the tell. Don't care anymore. I don't care anymore. Stop caring. Stop caring and start sharing. Stop selling and start telling. I mean, it's a real mantra right there. It really is. Stop selling and start telling. You're not selling anything. So I'm going to tell you these scripts. I'm not going to sell you these scripts. And you're going to tell these people these scripts. And they're going to buy into this because you got nothing to sell. You're not saying to them, what do I have to do to get you in this car today? Oh my God, that's the greasiest comment on the face of the planet. You know, that's the and so you sit there and you're like, well, I want low interest rates and I want a low payment. Great, if I can get you, and then they turn it around. That's what they're taught. Well, if I can get you low interest rates and low payment, you'll come out, you'll take a car today, sign here. They're like, what the hell's going on? That's what they do. They get you to a point, unfortunately, where you have to shit or get off the pot. Excuse my language, but understand this. I remember my father telling me this over and over again. He was a boxer in the Navy. He boxed afterwards. And he would say to me all the time, he goes, boy, listen to me. There's only one way to win a fight. You do not go into it with hesitation. You shit or you get off the pot. When he comes up to you and he starts gesturing up to you and starts talking to you, you pop him right in the nose. Don't you start talking to him. Take action. And so with these clients, what you're going to do with these clients is you're going to hit them right in the nose with a dose of reality. But you're going to tickle them with a feather when you're doing it. So as an example, I come up to you, Valerie, and I say to you, at your salon, I walk in, and you happen to be at the front desk. I don't say, is the owner in? When I go door to door, I don't say, is the owner in? I just walk right in and I find somebody at the salon or the clothing store or the ice cream shop that looks like they work there. I walk right up to them. I have the flyer turned around. It's 180 degrees turned around so they can read it. Well, I hand it to them. I hold on to it tight. I don't let them have it. And then I start in. My name is Brett. I'm with a company called Mom and Pop Business Funding. I use my left finger, my weak hand, to point at the name or the logo or both. And you can see right here we specialize in unsecured working capital for salons. We go up to $1 million, close these loans in 1 to 2 days, oftentimes the same day as the application. And I simply want to drop off my flyer. And that way in the future, if you ever need any working capital, you have this on hand. Somewhere in there, he or she, they are going to interrupt me and they're going to say, oh, I'm not the owner, she is. Let me introduce you. Give me a second. Follow me. Or, oh, I'm not the owner, he is, or my dad is, he's in the back. Come with me. So she takes you back there. He takes you back there. Now you do the same thing with him. You get introduced to Mr. Grimes. You don't say anything than, nice to meet you, Mr. Grimes. You give him a handshake, and then you start in. My name's Brett. I'm with Mom and Pop Business Funding. You can see right here, we go up to $1 million and specialize in unsecured working capital for jewelry stores. Close these loans in 1 to 2 days, oftentimes the same day as the application, and I simply wanted to drop this flyer off for you. And that way in the future, if you ever need any working capital, you've got this flyer on hand. He's not going to say, no, get the hell out of my store. He's going to say, thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. I'm glad you stopped by. I really appreciate it. Or he's going to say, she's going to say, you really go up to $1 million? Get ready, it's over. You really go up to $1 million? Yes, we do. Just answer the question. And you really close these loans in 1 to 2 days? Yes, we do. Just answer the question. Because they're not going to have 100 questions. Remember how many times this week I've asked each of you if you have any questions. And interestingly enough, we have very, 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 very few questions. Very few. So that's the way it's going to be with these business owners. And it's going to come in the form of a comment. You mean to tell me that this money is unsecured? Yes, it is. Seriously. Yes, it is. Just answer the question. Now remember, go back to my sales pitch and understand, I didn't say, and I was simply stopping by today in closing to ask you if you'd like to do business with me or not, or if you'd like to get a loan today or not, or if I could help you with your financial needs today regarding a loan. That is a close-ended question. Now, does everyone know the difference now?
Got it.
Yes.
Yes. tell you the one I love, and I don't teach this very often because I just don't. I forget about it. But the one I love is the lady or the gentleman, young, medium, or old, who says to themselves, I don't want to be asked questions when I go into the jewelry store. Some of you are saying to yourself, I don't want to be asked questions when I go into the restaurant. I don't want to ask questions when I go door to door. For those of you that are going door to door, many of you are not going to. That's fine. But for those of you that are, you may be saying to yourself, I don't have the maturation. I don't have the maturity. I get scared. I bumble my word. Okay, great. Act as a courier. I'll never forget this lady down in Los Angeles. It was 6, 7, 8, 9 years ago. And I was like, what? What did you just say? And she goes, well, I don't like to go in there and tell them that it's me and that I represent the company. So what I do is I go in and I say to them, I'm dropping these off on behalf of Tammy. Her contact information's on the bottom there, and she points at it. And if you need any working capital for your business, you can give her a yell. And so she actually is Tammy, dropping off flyers on behalf of Tammy herself, but she's acting as though she's someone else. Because the next thing that's going to happen is she's going to get a phone call or an email. She's not going to allow herself to see them again. She's not going into their storefront again. Everything from then on will be taken care of remotely. And so I started to teach that off and on. I'm sure, Vadim, you've heard me say that at least once or twice over the years. That there's people out there. Yeah, I don't do it very often, but this is a great technique where you can just go out and act like a courier. And that's, for those of you that don't want to be in a situation where you're faced with questions, you can just look at them and say, I don't know. I'm just dropping it off on behalf of on behalf of Bill. All I know is what's on the flyer because I carry them around all day, that they go up to $1 million and these loans are unsecured, and that his contact information's on the bottom there. And they'll take it every time. They'll take the flyer every time. So it's another way that you could do this without any resistance. I mean, for me, just to let each of you know, had someone taught me these types of techniques when I was younger, I could have asked Wendy Qualls out. I could have asked, Julie Gray out. I could have asked Don Wilson out. I mean, I'm going to introduce you to this guy right here. I showed you guys yesterday this gentleman. I'm so sorry, excuse me. And I can tell you that this guy was Romeo. I mean, he was Rico Suave. There he is right there on the screen, Billy Clark. I grew up with this kid from grade school on. We were in all schools together. And he was my very first employee ever in grade school, late grade school, early junior high, on my paper route. He was my first person that filled in as a substitute for me when I would go out of town or get sick. Anyway, what this guy knew, because he had 5 sisters, was he knew that he didn't have to ask them out. Billy was the master at compliments. And Billy knew that they loved compliments because his sisters taught him this. I didn't catch up with him and start knowing this till I was 34 years old, that's how he was landing all these girls that, Billy was never, by the way, don't get me wrong, somebody that slept with a lot of women. In fact, Billy is a lot like me. Billy slept with the woman he was married to. That's the type of guy Billy was. But Billy had a lot of girlfriends, and I wanted to have girlfriends. I wanted to be around girls as much as I did boys, if not more. But I didn't have this ability, and Billy did. And let me tell you what Billy would do. Here's what he would do. He would compliment them like, oh, Rhonda, I like your new shoes. Or, oh, Brenda, I like the way you did your hair today. And that's all it would take. That's all it would take. It was on. Next thing you know, they're walking down the hall talking together. Oh, she felt so good about the fact that he had talked to her about her new dress and noticed her, or her new look with her hair, this type of thing. And I just didn't know these were the secrets. That's what his sisters taught him. Compliment them. So there is these little abnormalities, what I call ingredients, that can create results that you and I are just not used to. And one of the results that I found that I didn't like was I was getting no's all the time. 50% of the time, 40% of the time, 60% of the time. So yeah, it was a numbers game. So then I started to develop a close-ended question sentence structure. No, an open-ended question sentence structure by saying to them, and I simply want to drop this off, and that way you've got it in the future if you ever need any working capital. And I simply was calling today to leave my contact information with you, and that way in the future, if you never need any working capital for your liquor store, you've got that on hand. I'm not actually saying to the person that owns the liquor store over the phone, I was simply calling today to see if you wanted to do a business loan with me or not. That's a close-ended question. So I'm going to go into telemarketing. I'm going to give 3 different methods of telemarketing here in a minute. Those of you that don't want to telemarket, I still think you should stay on the phone and listen to this, because there's going to be scripts here, what I call delivery systems, where I'm telling them as opposed to selling them what I do and why I'm here on the phone with them, okay? But before that, I want to talk to you about a couple other markets. They're silly little markets, easy to do, easy not to do, okay? So Chamber of Commerce, I mentioned this earlier in the week. I'm going to mention it again. Do not discount your Chamber of Commerce. Our staff is there today in Medford at the Chamber of Commerce meeting right now. It starts in 2 minutes here in Medford, okay? Chamber of Commerce is a networking platform where you can network with business owners. Now, the beauty of this is they don't allow 10 attorneys firms to be part of the meeting. They don't allow 10 banks to be part of the meeting, 5 banks, 6 banks, 3 banks, multiple. They don't allow multiple print shops to be part of the meeting. 1 or 2 is sufficient. Why? Because they want them to be supported by the group. Okay? And it's hard for the group to support 10 print shops or 10 restaurants or 10 banks or 10 exercise equipment sales companies or 10 tanning booth companies. So they typically only allow 1 to 2 members, business owners in other words, of that industry or from that industry. Does that make sense to everyone?
Yes.
Anyone have any questions about that? About who can join a Chamber of Commerce? Who can join a Chamber of Commerce?
No, sir.
All right, so you can all go to your first Chamber of Commerce meeting, your second Chamber of Commerce meeting, and probably your third Chamber of Commerce meeting for free. How are you going to do it? You're just going to call your local Chamber of Commerce. I mean, we had them in Hillsborough, we had them in Gresham, we had them in Vancouver, we have them in Portland on the west side, Portland on the east side, Portland on the north side, or on the north end, Portland on the south end. We had them in Lake Oswego, we had them in Hillsborough, Forest Grove, we had them everywhere. Salem, they were surrounding us everywhere where I lived in Portland. So when I first started doing this in the mortgage industry, I didn't join any of those Chamber of Commerce. What I would do is I'd call that Chamber of Commerce building, business, and I would say, hey, I'm kind of thinking about joining the Chamber of Commerce. I really don't know that much about the Chamber of Commerce. Could you tell me a little bit about it, even though I knew about it? And then she or he, they would tell me about it. And then what they would do is they would say, hey, if you'd like, I can leave you a free ticket or a pass at the next 2 Chamber of Commerce meetings, and I'll let you know where those are at. We hold those each Thursday morning, or each Tuesday morning, or each Wednesday morning. Or I'll let you know when the next greeters meeting is after hours. And you can go there, and when you go to check in, I'll have a pass waiting there for you. Oh, God, that'd be wonderful. Thank you so much. And so I just went free after free after free after free after free after free after free. Why would you pay? Well, the reason you would pay is at some point you've made enough money, and now it's time to give back. You feel comfortable with it. Your budget's okay. You're back on your feet if you've had financial difficulties, whatever. And now you're like, okay, I want to commit to this group here. This is the group. So I kind of like to kiss a lot of frogs, if you know what I mean, back then, to decide what meetings I wanted to be part of. Because some of those, like you go to Aurora, Oregon, and that's going to be a real small Chamber of Commerce versus Portland, Oregon North, or Portland, Oregon South, or Lake Oswego's meetings. And I wanted 100 members in there, 200 members in there, because the chance that you're getting business are better than if you go to a meeting where there's 5 people or 10 or 15 people, okay? So what goes on in these meetings? Well, what goes on in these meetings is they have a session at the beginning where you say hi to one another, okay? And then an MC, Masters of Ceremonies, the person who's putting the meeting on, will kind of call the meeting to order. And then what they'll do is they will hand a microphone around. I've pulled up Chamber of Commerce on the screen here for all of you ladies and gentlemen, so you can see it on Google. It's Chamber of Commerce or Board of Trade is a form of business network. For example, a local organization of businesses whose goal is to further the interest of business. Business owners in towns and cities form these local societies to advocate on behalf of the business community. So you go to these meetings, and then what they do, especially when you're new, they give you a little longer time in front of the microphone. So they could be in a circle, they could be in a square, they could be just spread all over the place, sitting down, standing up. It's a hodgepodge of different postures out of these people. And what happens is he'll start the business off. You know, I want to thank you all for coming today. As you know, my name is Ron Olson. I own Olson's Shoes. That's what, you know, you're in my shop today. We're showcasing my shop today. I'm second generation. We've been in business since 1957. My dad started the company. And in the event that you need some shoes or some insoles, anything, you know, hurting your feet, custom insoles, socks, anything pertaining to your feet, come on by. We've got the best shoes in town, and we'll give you a 25% discount on your first purchase for being a Chamber of Commerce meeting. And I really want to tell you all, I appreciate you stopping by today. And everybody kind of does a little clap, whatever, those types of things. And that starts the meeting off. He hands the microphone to the left or to the right, and she takes over. My name is Betty. I own the local Subway restaurant. My husband and I bought this, or my partner and I bought this 3.5 years ago. Business is good. Thank God. COVID is over. Good grief. We wouldn't have wanted to own the business during that time. And if you stop by there, let them know that I said you get a 5% discount for being a member with the Chamber of Commerce on your next meal for you and your family. And then the microphone comes to you at some point. And all you do, you just take your hand, everyone look at the screen, that's what I do. I hold it up in the air really high with my predominant hand, and I say, my name is Brett Martin. I'm with Mom and Pop Business Funding. I never say I'm the owner. You don't say you're a loan officer. You don't need to say I'm an ISO. Stay away from title. Titles don't mean a thing to them. That's not what you're selling here, title. You're not selling how many days you've been in the business, how many years you've been in the business. Stay away from that. It doesn't matter. Let them fill in the blanks. They will fill in the blanks because you're offering them something and they're saying to themselves, oh my God, I need working capital. I've got to buy a new truck. Our truck's on the fritz. Or, oh, gee, many crickets. I've been looking for a loan now for over 60 days. I've got no answer from Wells Fargo. I need this really bad for my roof. My roof is leaking on my business. And so what you've done, you hold the flyer in the air and you just say, my name's Brett. I'm with Mom and Pop Business Funding. The company I represent specializes in unsecured working capital for businesses. You got to be in business at least 6 months. We go up to $1 million. We close these loans in 1 to 2 days. This money's unsecured. And in the event that you're looking for working capital, you can stop by afterwards and grab one of the flyers. And then what happens, believe it or not, is they start coming right then. They don't go to Ron at Olson Shoes and start creeping in on them. They don't go to, so-and-so that owns the salon. They don't go to so-and-so that does the print shop. But with you, you got what they want. You got what they've been looking for, and they start creeping towards you. It's funnier than hell. In fact, I've yet to be at a meeting yet where the MC, the Master of Ceremonies, doesn't interrupt the meeting and say, hey, everybody, go back to your seat, please. Let's not interrupt the meeting. We still got meeting to go here. But what's funny is they don't go back to their seats, most of them. They hover. They kind of move away from you a little bit. It makes the Master of Ceremonies uncomfortable, but he's got to go on or she's got to go on with the meeting, and they're just hovering. Now, do not make the mistake of taking an application with you like I did when I first went out in the early years. Don't sit there in that place of business and start doing applications, okay? What you're going to do is you're going to just give them the flyer if they're interested and just tell them my contact information's on the bottom of that flyer. Hit me with an email, and I'll hit you with a little email that says, hey, we need 6-month bank statements and this application that I've attached, filled out and signed and dated to the best of your ability. And we'll have an answer for you in 1 to 2 days. Okay, now you could easily in your sales pitch say, my name's Brett. I'm with the company Mom and Pop Business Funding. The company I represent specializes in unsecured working capital for businesses. We go up to $1 million, close these loans in 1 to 2 days. The beauty of these, like I said earlier, it's in unsecured, and we don't need tax returns or a balance sheet or a profit and loss statement. So for some reason you're looking for working capital now or in the future, just hit me up afterwards. I'll get you a flyer. And so that's your sales pitch. Now, I don't know what you're thinking, but I can tell you right now, you're not going to make $750,000 your first year, which is what the above average person makes in this industry, without a little bit of rehearsal. So dare to stand in front of a mirror and say this over and over again. Dare to drive down the road and say it over and over again. What did Brett say in class? Okay, I need to say my name. My name's Susan. I'm with Mom and Pop Business Funding. I mean, you'd be surprised at how many of you cannot say Mom and Pop Business Funding. I hear Mom and Pop Funding. I hear Mom and Pop Services. It's so funny when we get out in the field, and then I'll talk to the person afterwards once we get in my rental car, and I'll be like, how many times have you rehearsed that word or that name? And they kind of look like the cat that ate the mouse, and you're like, body language says everything. And then I'll say, you haven't, have you? Because it became very obvious to me in there that you hadn't. In fact, I can tell you all that if you work for a company for a while, like I used to work for Smith Barney, and then I formed a company called Community First Mortgage. And it was very hard for me when I first started Community First Mortgage not to say I was with Smith Barney. Because I'd said I was with Smith Barney tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of times. So I found myself out in the field and on the phone saying, and I'm with Community First Mortgage. Well, that crossroad hesitation screw up right there causes them to say, that ingredient didn't taste well. I don't like that. So you want this to be fluid. You want it to flow. So again, my name's Brett Martin. I'm with Mom and Pop Business Funding. I don't like to use a last name. My name's Brett. I'm with Mom and Pop Business Funding. The company I represent specializes in unsecured working capital for businesses. We go up to $1 million. We close these loans in 1 to 2 days, oftentimes the same day as the application. There's a very low barrier to entry here. We don't need tax returns, balance sheet, or profit and loss statement. If for some reason you're looking for working capital now or in the future, swing by after the Chamber of Commerce meeting and I'll have flyers waiting for you. And then you hand the microphone on to the next person. Now, each time I said that, I said it a little bit differently there for you. But you've got at least 5 or 6 or 7 different pitches there for a Chamber of Commerce. So any questions about how to approach a Chamber of Commerce? Now's the time. Go ahead. Don't pay the $350. Don't pay the $400. Don't pay the $450 because that's what it's going to cost. Call them, show some interest, have them educate you on how it works, what it's about. Then watch them go into a sales pitch because they want to get you in as a member. There's a benefit to them talking you into becoming a member. So they're going to dangle a carrot in front of you by giving you 1, 2, 3 free passes. Very common that they give you 2 or 3 free passes. And they'll give you a variety, like 2 passes to the morning meetings and a pass to an after-hours meeting to a greeters meeting. Okay? All right, now, when my kids were little boys, junior high and high school, I'd throw them in my MG. I'd throw them in whatever car I had at the time. And on Tuesdays or Thursdays or Monday, Wednesday, Friday, whatever their system allowed at the school, their classes allowed based on their start time. And I would go down after I'd done blackmailers, and I would go door to door. This was before I got into this industry. This is when I went in the mortgage industry. Not door to door, but car to car in the parking garages. One day I was just sitting there and I came out of my attorney's office and I went to whatever floor across the street via the elevator, got out of the elevator, got in my car, and I said to myself, I wonder how many business owners are in this parking lot when I was with Smith Barney. And I thought to myself, my God, Brett, there's a ton of business owners in this parking lot. These cars are owned by business owners. So I started handing out flyers underneath the windshield wiper. And so I did it with Smith Barney. I did it with homeowners in the mortgage industry. A lot of those are homeowners. And I did it in this industry, knowing there's business owners there in these parking garages. 8-story parking garages, 20-story parking garages. You just start at the bottom and start walking your way up. Or go in, start at the top, and walk your way down. And what you do is you just go to somewhere like Staples, Office Max, or Office Depot. You buy a big, thick, fat Sharpie or magic marker, black. The big fat ones that are flat. And you get a ream of paper for $3.99, $9.99. So you got 250 pieces of paper. Maybe you get 2 reams, 500 pieces of paper, whatever. And you take the very first one and you write on there business loans across the top. And right underneath it, you write the word fast. And then down at the very bottom, you just put your phone number. It's real cheap piece of advertising. I'm telling you, it works like a charm. Every single solitary time I ever did it, I got business out of it. Every time I go with you, ladies and gentlemen, you get business out of it, or your predecessors. You will get business out of it. You can get business out of it today. But what's funny about it is there's only about 5 to 7% of you that will do it because it's beneath you. You think you're bigger than that. You think you're more important than that. Well, there I was, a multi-millionaire back in those years, doing it with my kids. And we would talk about marketing and advertising, and it was fun for us. It was just a fun time. The kids would love it. We'd stop by something in coffee shop, back before Starbucks, and we'd get them some coffee. When Starbucks come out, we'd get coffee or hot chocolate, a little whipped cream, maybe a treat, a Danish or something, and off we'd go. Go downtown and do the parking garages, okay? Now, over time, someone in our office started going to Costco. And Costco's another place where you've got isolated circumstances, situations where you've got business owners that are lining the parking lot. 2 times that work real well are the early birds in the morning, and then again late in the afternoon. Those people that get off after work and go there. Okay? So, any questions about parking garages? Real inexpensive. Don't use your flyers that you print off at Vistaprint, the flyers that Grant's division made you. Don't use those flyers. Those are just too expensive for that, okay? Staples, Office Max, Office Depot. Which reminds me, by the way, I don't know if Caleb's on the phone. I think Caleb's still at Chamber of Commerce meetings because it just started. Caleb, you're not on the phone, I hope. Are you there, Caleb?
What?
Tracy, you're not on the phone? What was that?
What did you say to write on the paper? You said just to write business loans fast?
Yeah, so you're gonna do it width-wise, not height-wise. So it's 8.5 inches wide. So you're gonna do it width-wise, not because it's 11 inches tall. That's how I see it. 8.5 by 11. So you're gonna hold it so it's 8.5 wide. And at the top, you're going to write the words business loans all the way across. And then right below that, you're going to write the word fast in real big writing. And then down at the very bottom, you're going to put your phone number, nothing else. That's it. And then you take that one copy and you make 250 copies. You make 500 copies. Now you're good to go. Off you go. So, yeah, real inexpensive ROI. I mean, I got people, folks, that are very good producers, people making 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 million that still do parking garages to this day. Take their grandchildren down, take their children down, go down with their partner, their wife, their husband, go down with somebody that they've met on these calls that's from their area. And it really is a fun time. I mean, it's kind of silly, but, it works. I'm telling you, it works real well. And it's a real inexpensive way to do it. And again, there's not a period where you spend a time where you spend being rejected. So, all right. So,
I have a question.
Yeah.
Have you ever run against any resistance in some of these parking garages that are like manned with a gate? Like if you have to have a pass or you got to pay a fee.
I have people who have had issues. But I can tell you, I get to know them, and they're secretive people. They're scared people. They're skitty-ish. You with me? So it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. They seem to attract people that stare at them. I've been with people like that where they feel like they're in trouble all the time. I'm married to a woman like that. I've been with her for 15 years. I'm always telling her, I'm like, Jane, relax. You're not in trouble. And because she spent her entire life worried about authoritative figures. And she's classically conditioned like Pavlov's dogs. And she just thinks she's in trouble all the time. I mean, there's times where she's like, oh, I hope you're okay with it. I'm sorry I'm late. I'm like, what do you mean you're late? Who's judging you? You're independent within this relationship. I don't give a damn what you do after work. You know, if it gets to be 3 or 4 hours, I'd be concerned. But for God's sakes, stop acting like you're in trouble. And I can tell you right now, I am surrounded by people who act like they're in trouble. So if you're going to act like you're in trouble, then you're going to get in trouble. Are you not? Someone give me an amen.
Amen. But I think my question was more like if they have signage posted that they don't allow.
Oh, they let's be honest with one another. They got signage posted, right?
Okay.
Sure they do.
They may. I don't know.
Well, yeah, absolutely they do. Yeah, they got it right there. There's all sorts of postings as you enter. They're everywhere. They're on the left. They're on the right. You know, you can just guarantee there's going to be a sign there, no soliciting. Absolutely. It's going to happen. Yeah.
Okay. And I have another question. Like, is there anything wrong with taking those flyers and just doing a mall parking lot or a strip mall parking lot or behind the strip mall?
I think even one better. This is the one that works really well. Go to real estate conferences. Go to mortgage conferences. Go to business conferences. Find these women entrepreneurial group conferences that are going on. You with me? Yeah. Men's entrepreneurial groups. These, you know, franchise groups. These types of that are held not only in a mall, but they're held in a facility like a Moda Center or whatever, you know. And you've got an entire parking lot there of 5,000 people, and you're like, oh my God. I mean, yeah, I used to do that in the mortgage industry. Tufan, Billy Clark, me, Joe Bulkovats, Tim Walter. You know, everybody would hop in what we call the Yakuza, my BMW, my big black 740. We'd house 6 people, and off we'd go. And these guys would drink their lunch. Everybody would be loaded. I wasn't much of a drinker back then. I was the owner. I didn't want to be a bad seed or a bad influence, but yeah, they'd get drunk. They'd get drunked up afterwards, during, and before. And we'd put them in the parking lot. Absolutely, under the windshield wiper. Yeah, great job. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that way you don't have to worry about, well, I can tell you right now, those areas still don't allow you to, I'm not going to lie to you, they still don't allow you to solicit. But I have to tell you something, what you get is a warning. That's what I've heard repeatedly, is you get a warning. You're not going to get fined. You're not coming back. You do it one time, and then you wait 4.5 months. There's another conference going on, and you show up. It's not as though they're going to keep a record on you, and they've got a wanted poster for you with a mugshot, for God's sakes. You know, so, yeah. The only time I ever got fined, there was a full video on it in one of our videos, but I used to do the Bandit signs. Some of you know what those are. Some of you don't. You've seen them before, I'm sure all of you, whether you're on public transit or whether you're in your own vehicles, where you drive up to a stop sign or a major light, and someone has put a sign out there on the corner or out in the island that says, you know, we buy houses, and there's a phone number. You know, that's a Bandit sign. And so I would put out signs that said business loans, fast, and then a phone number down below, very large across the bottom. And that was an unbelievable market for me. Worked extraordinarily well. And what happened was I eventually got to the point where the mayors, then the powers that be, started to get me in trouble. But I started to pay the fine. It was $100 a day. And my attorney and I agreed that the return on investment was so extreme that what did I care about $100 a day fine? So I'm getting fines here and there, 2, 3, 4 different cities. $300, $400, $500 a day. It didn't matter at all because I was making so much money off of it. But then one day a judge called me in, and so he kept me out of a county. But I worked in other counties and never did get called in front of a judge. So Bandit signs work really, really well. They're amazingly well. Any of you know what a Bandit sign is, what I'm talking about?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Okay, of course, same old time.
$2.50 Home Depot. You get the stake, you get the sign, and you get the cotter keys, and you get the washers. $2.50. Now you get the felt pin out, the big fat one, and you ride on there on the white sign or the yellow sign. Business loans fast up on top. Business loans on the first line, fast on the second line, and down at the bottom is your phone number. Do not use a 1-800 number, whatever you do. Do not use a 1-800 number. They hate 1-800 numbers. That's why we don't have a 1-800 number. They quit using 1-800 numbers. Everyone hates a 1-800 number. All right. So if there's no more questions, I'm going to go into telemarketing. 3 different methods. Everyone ready?
Yeah.
Oh. Yep.
All right. Let's go into this kind of like we're dipping our toes into the water so the river or the stream doesn't take us downstream, just throw us into a turmoil. Let's take it slow. Let's imagine that some of you said to yourself, I want to do the black envelope. And let's imagine that you and I are sending out black envelopes today, 10 of them. And let's imagine that you've gone to the reference solutions with me. And let's imagine that you and I have written down 10 business owners' names and phone numbers. Okay? We don't need anything else other than what type of business we're going after today. So let's say you've sent 10 envelopes off with me today to 10 dentists in Detroit, Michigan. Now, what we're going to do when you're done sending out these 10 black envelopes today, we're immediately going to go over to the calendar, and next week on the 27th, 7 days from today, you're going to write on there, on your day timer, whatever, however you keep notes on a calendar, you're going to write on there the word dentist on the 27th up at the top, and then you're going to number them vertically down that date, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and you're going to put their name. Okay, Dr. Johnson, Dr. Smith, Dr. Carlisle, Dr. Baker, and so on. All right? Now, the following week, when you wake up next week, you have 10 business owners you can call because you did your job today. Now, you're not going to get a hold of that doctor. And he hesitates for effect. You're not going to get a hold of that doctor. He hesitates again for effect. And you say to yourself, well, how am I going to get them to do business with me? Great question. Here we go. Who's going to answer the phone? Think about it for a moment. You've been at the doctor before. Some of you have children or grandchildren. You've gone to the pediatrician before. You've gone to the dentist before, for God's sakes. And you know that you've got women and men, young, medium, and old, up front, and they're answering the phone, and they're taking care of billing, and they're setting up appointments, and it can be a very busy little lobby where they're at, and you're going to call there. You've got the phone number, you know who the owner is, and they answer the phone. Guy named Jeff. Hi, this is Jeff with Dr. Conrad's office. How can I help you today? And you say, oh, hey, Jeff, Brett Martin here. How you doing? I'm doing great, Mr. Martin. How about yourself? You're not going to say, what's up? Or what's going on? He's used to talking to clients that call in to Dr. Conrad. So this is a normal environment. Hi, Mrs. Benjamin. How are you? I'm doing great, thanks. Hey, listen. Last week I sent you all a black envelope. I was wondering for the doctor. I'm wondering if you see that floating around there somewhere around the office. Now, it's a small office, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people. And he's going to say, she's going to say, yeah, I did. Or, yeah, we were talking about it. Or, yeah, in fact, I was the one who went out and got it. Well, hey, listen, I don't want to bug the doctor. But if you get a chance, let him know that the guy called that sent that black envelope, and there's a flyer in there pertaining to working capital, and let him know my contact information is on the bottom of that flyer, and if he ever needs any working capital for his practice, he can give me a yell. So you're actually getting them to do your job for you. They're not going to say no. I've never had anybody say no. Ever. Not one time. They always say, yeah, I'll take care of it. Thanks for calling. Or, yeah, no problem. Okay, thanks a ton. Have a wonderful day. Yeah, you too. Now, why are they so anxious, willing to partake in this? The reason is because they're starved for attention. Secretaries, gatekeepers, receptionists, they love attention from the authoritative figure. That's why they're in that role oftentimes. Plus, they want to transcend. They want to transition into what? More pay, more responsibility. And so anytime they get a chance, they want to talk to the owner. I know. I've employed thousands and thousands of them. And I actually don't ever enter the front of the building anymore. I always enter the side of the building or the back of the building because I don't want them humping my leg when I come into the lobby, and that's what they do. They're like a dog in the park. They just start humping your leg. It's like, oh, God, I can't get out of here. Somebody get me out of here, please, my God. Because they want to talk to you. They're lonely. They're lonely. They're not talking among one another. They're competing with one another. They need a 25-cent an hour raise. They fight like hell for 25 cents an hour. They fight like hell for 50 cents an hour, 75 cents an hour. They fight like hell for attention, for attaboys, for chuck points. So they're going to lie in wait. And so the doctor comes around the corner saying goodbye to Mrs. Benjamin and her son. The doctor bends down on one knee. He hands the son his choice of dum-dum suckers out of the lapel pocket over the left-hand side of his breast in his white jacket. The kid looks up at Mom for permission. Mom nods and says, it's okay, honey. You can have one today. Naturally, because it's the doctor, and the doctor knows best, so go ahead and eat some sugar, son. It doesn't matter. It's the doctor. So, yeah, he gets a dum-dum sucker, picks the cherry one, picks the orange one, picks the lime one, whatever, and the doctor puts the rest of the dum-dum suckers back in his pocket. And then he reaches out to give Mrs. Benjamin a hug, Mrs. Walker a hug, Mr. Baker a handshake, Mr. Walker a hug, whatever the normal pleasantries are between them the last 5 years, 10 years since they've had 3 kids, 4 kids, 5 kids over the years visiting them. And then off they go into the lobby. Now the doctor uses a little stenography machine, or a little computer screen they've got nowadays with a little keypad. Or they've got, maybe a microphone they speak into about the visit. Or maybe they're going to turn and just go on to the next client. And that's when Jeff yells across the reception area, the gatekeeper area, the secretarial area, Dr. Conrad. And Dr. Conrad turns. I always use that example, the E.F. Hutton commercial. Those of you that are back in the 70s with me, some of you remember that commercial, when E.F. Hutton speaks, people listen. Anyone remember that commercial?
Yes.
When E.F. Hutton speaks, yeah. Great commercial. If you ladies and gentlemen haven't seen that before, look that up, a 1970s commercial on airplanes typically. When E.F. Hutton speaks, people listen. So that's what's going to happen. Jeff will turn and be like, Dr. Conrad. And now everyone kind of looks. It's a very powerful position for Jeff right now. That guy called that sent that black envelope. I just wanted to let you know. Okay, thanks, Jeff. Yeah, you're very welcome. Or that guy called that sent the black envelope. Wanted to let you know if you need any working capital, you can give him a yell. His contact information on the bottom of the flyer. Or that guy called that sent that black envelope, said his contact information on the bottom of that flyer. So over and over and over again, when I was in production, I'd get that call back, and it would be the doctor a day later, that day, that afternoon, that morning, the following morning, a week later, that weekend. You know, hey, I want to thank you so much for calling. I appreciate it. I had forgotten about you, or, you know, I was going to call you. I am interested. I'm in the process of expanding right now. I need to buy more space. You know, I didn't do my taxes yet this year. I don't plan on doing them. I'm going to file for an extension. My wife and I have had some problems in our family with a couple deaths and of late, and I just haven't had time to get them done. And unfortunately, the banks won't lend to me. So, yeah, I need working capital. What do I got to do to get started? Well, all I need you to do is fill out an application. I'll send that over to you when I get your email from you. And then I need you to get 6-month bank statements from your bank and email those over to me along with the application once you've signed and dated and filled it out to the best of your ability. Don't need tax returns. Don't need a profit and loss statement. Don't need a balance sheet. Those types of things. And then he may have a question or two, or a comment. It comes more in the form of a comment. It says here that you guys close these loans in 1 to 2 days. Yes, we do. Sometimes the same day as the application. God, this just sounds great. Or, you know, it sounds too good to be true. I felt the same way when I got in the business with the company. But it's definitely true. Okay, well, I'll get on this today. Great. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you soon. And so that's the end of that conversation. So any questions about contacting people that you've sent the black envelope out to? Go ahead. Now's the time. Okay. Now, let's talk about telemarketing in general. First off, you're not going to get scripts via email. Once again, I'm not sending you scripts via email. We are 1 hour and 51 minutes in. We are 1 hour and 51 minutes in. Fast forward to here if you want telemarketing scripts. Again, fast forward to here if you want telemarketing scripts. We are 1 hour and 51 minutes in. Okay? When you get the recording. So here we go. So, standard script. For ladies and gentlemen out there that want a standard script. Someone answers the phone at a business. Let's say it's a mattress store. Hi, my name's Tammy. I'm with Bob's Mattresses. How can I help you today? Oh, hi, Tammy. My name's Brett Martin, and I'm with Mom and Pop Business Funding, and the company I represent specializes in unsecured working capital for mattress stores. We go up to $1 million, and we close these loans in 1 to 2 days, oftentimes the same day. So you're going to stop you and say, I'm not the person you need to talk to. Or she'll allow you to keep going. Let's say she allows you to keep going. And we go up to $1 million, and we close these loans in 1 to 2 days, oftentimes the same day as the application. And I was calling today to see if I could talk to the business owner or the decision maker. Now that is a close-ended question. That is going to require her, them, he, she, they, to say to you yes or no. And that is a numbers game. Many of you have heard that sales is a numbers game. Many of you have heard that telemarketing is a numbers game. In fact, I have a complaint out here on my website that I read last night from a guy. And the guy comment is that Brett makes it sound too easy. Well, it is easy. He's given me a 2-star review, called me a complete con, oversells the ease. I oversell the ease of earning money doing this job. I mean, I'm not overselling it. Go out and look on the World Wide Web. Look up the article, Juan Monegro, Yellowstone Capital, 2015. Written in 2016, the article. He closed 2,351 of these loans. The article, he was a telemarketer full-time. That's all he does. He doesn't have any networks like I did. And now he owns his own company. And he does this all day, telemarketing. This is very easy, folks. The problem with the guy who wrote the article, I know his name very well. I know him inside out. This bad review about me is that he didn't do anything. What he did was he psychoanalyzed whether or not he wanted to do it or not, or should do it or not, and he chose not to do it. In fact, he chose to bitch about it and complain about it. You know, what a waste. And I've got shoulders that are big enough to have these complaints. I could care less. I'm just using this for ammo to let you know that there are some of you out there that are going to psychoanalyze this to the point where you become paralyzed and you just won't take action. I don't know what to say. I don't. Other than you've been called. You've been called to do this. You've been called to do other things. And the more that you don't do it, this or the other things, or those things in the future, the more disharmony you're going to feel. The more discomfort you're going to feel. Not my fault he didn't make it. But what's funny is when you click on the review and you read about it, what you find is that he actually gets Google points, and he's written 653 reviews. Who has time to write 653 reviews? How insane do you have to be to take the time to write 653 reviews? I mean, I got to tell each of you something. I've had a bad steak before. I've had bad chicken before. I've had bad meals before. But I don't go right out to my car. I don't sit in the restaurant. I don't go home immediately and write up a bad review. Come on, they had a bad moment in time. But that's the way the world is nowadays. We got to make a scene. You know, we got to make a scene. You know, I can tell you all something right now. I worked in a restaurant when I was a kid at the Keg restaurant, and I can tell you right now, send your steak back, and someone's going to spit in it. Make no mistake about it. You're asking for some really bizarre stuff that goes on when you send your food back to that kitchen. They're not going to be real happy with you. You got to understand, these are not the best people on the face of the planet that are in that kitchen cooking, preparing your food. They're making a minimum wage. They're hanging on by a thread. A lot of them are drug addicts. And you're sending your food back. And you're complaining. And you're making a scene. So I'm just not that guy. You know, but there's a lot of people like that out there. You're going to find that if you're not one of those people, because I'm sure there is some of you on here. It seems like there's a hell of a lot of us out there pro rata share, especially in America. Never met so many whiners as I have in America. Go to other countries. They're not preoccupied bitching and moaning. They're getting the job done. You know, they're working on their lives. Hell, they're not even, staring at the screen like we do all day, the phones. But anyway, back to telemarketing. You've got your standard script. She answers, he answers. Hi, my name's Brett Martin. I'm with Mom and Pop Business Funding. And the company I represent specializes in unsecured working capital for liquor stores. We go up to $1 million and we close these loans in 1 to 2 days. Listen how slow I'm going, how clear and concise I am, how I'm hanging on each word or each sentence. Not, Hi, my name's Brett Martin. I'm with Mom and Pop Business Funding. The company I represent specializes in unsecured working capital for liquor stores. That's what happens to us when we get nervous. We all know that when we get nervous, we talk faster. Slow down. Take your time. Be in charge. Hi, my name's Brett. I'm with Mom and Pop Business Funding. Hi, my name's Brett Martin. I'm with Mom and Pop Business Funding. The company I represent specializes in unsecured working capital for mattress stores. We go up to $1 million and close these loans in 1 to 2 days, oftentimes the same day as the application. I was simply calling today to see if I could call to talk to the decision maker or the owner. And you've got a high likelihood, 50% chance they're going to say yes, and a 50% chance they're going to say no. So you're going to go through a tremendous amount of data. You're going to have to get at least 100 to 150 business owners' names, numbers, and the name of their company off of Reference Solutions before you get out of there today, if you're going to be telemarketing today. Now, I have a method that is a method where all you're going to need is 10 business owners' names and phone numbers. Just 10. Not 100, not 200, 150, not 200, not 300. So I want you to go back to when you were a little boy, a little girl. And I want you to imagine that you're going to call your friend to see if she can play. You're going to call your friend to see if he can play. So the phone rings, Mrs. Noble answers, Mrs. Baranaga answers, Mr. Baranaga answers, Nash Baranaga answers, and he says, "A Baranaga resident, how can I help you today?" And I say, "Oi, Mr. Baranaga, grab John for me quick, will you?" Or, "Hi, Mr. Baranaga, this is Brett. Can you grab John for me quick?" "Yeah, he's right here. Just a minute. Good to talk to you. Tell your mom and dad hi." "I will, sir." And then John gets on the phone. "Hey, dude, what's going on?" "Not much. What are you up to?" "Not much. Is anyone using you guys' tennis court?" Baranaga's had a tennis court because his dad owned an adult care facility. They were wealthy. "No. If you want to come over and play tennis, that'd be great." "Sure. I'll be right over. I got my racket. I'm ready." And off I go. And that's what you're going to do with the business owner. You call the business owner. Someone else answers. A gatekeeper, a receptionist, a secretary. "Hi, this is Joseph with Frank's Liquor. How can I help you today?" And you say, "Oi, Joseph, grab Frank for me quick, will ya?" I'm going to act like I'm Frank's friend. "Oh, hey, Joseph, Brett here. Grab Frank for me quick, will ya?" He's going to let me have Frank because he's going to say to himself, no telemarketers ever use this type of script with me ever in my entire life. Ever. This guy must know Frank. He knows me. So all he says in return is, "Yeah, Brett, he's right here." I don't even have to use my name. Joseph answers. He says, "This is Joseph with Frank's Liquor. How can I help you today?" He does it all day. He's been doing it for 15 years, 16 years, 17 years, like Pavlov's dogs. Anyone know what Pavlov's dogs do when the bell rings? When the bells go off? What does Pavlov's dogs do? Anyone?
Salivate.
What do they do? They salivate. And that's what Joseph does. The phone rings, he salivates, he picks it up. He's classically conditioned like Pavlov's dogs, and he says the same thing. "This is Joseph with Frank's Liquor. How can I help you today?" "This is Joseph with Frank's Liquor. How can I help you today?" "This is Joseph with Frank's Liquor. How can I help you today?" And they ask you, "How late are you open today?" "Till 7:30. Next call. "Hey, you got that new Pendleton whiskey?" "Yeah, we do." Or, "We're down to 1 bottle." "Okay, can you save it for me? I'm coming right in. My name's Rhonda." "Yeah, Rhonda, but I'm only going to save it for an hour." "Well, it's going to be a couple hours." "Okay, Rhonda, I'll put it in the back here for a couple hours. Look me up. My name's Joseph." Click, click, click. Next call, next call, next call, next call. Bam. Here you come. You're not going to have that standard question that he's used to, that he's been used to for 17 and a half years. He answers the phone. You're going to interrupt. It's a Tony Robbins moment. You're going to interrupt Anthony Robbins moment. You're going to interrupt his state of being, his state of mind. You're going to catch him off guard. Hi, this is Joseph with Frank's Liquor. How can I help you today? Oh, hey, Joseph, grab Frank for me quick, will ya? He's going to run up inside his attic real quick, in his brain. Up the stairs, up. He's going to look around that chest of drawers, come back down real quick, take his Texas time doing it. He's going to say, yeah, David, he's right here. I'm not David, but he thinks I'm David because David calls all the time, and David's a friend of Frank's. Only David would do this. Only Molly would do this, his wife or his sister or his friend from the Chamber of Commerce named Molly. So all he does is he just says, yeah, Molly, he's right here. And then Frank gets on the phone. He's like, oh, hey, Molly, how's it going? I'm not Molly. Oh, shoot. Or, oh, shit. I'm so sorry. Joseph thought you were a friend of mine from the Chamber of Commerce named Molly. What can I do for you? Well, my name's Brett. I'm with a company called Mom and Pop Business Funding. And the company I represent specializes in unsecured working capital for liquor stores. You have to say specializes in unsecured working capital for liquor stores. You don't say, and I do business loans. That's too generic. So again, back to the beginning. I call, Joseph answers at Frank's Liquor. Hi, this is Joseph with Frank's Liquor. How can I help you today? Oh, hey, Joseph, grab Frank for me quick, will you? Yeah, he's right here. Give me a second, Tad. I'm not Tad. But Frank gets on the phone. You even hear Joseph yell down to Frank at the other end of the counter. Tad's on line 1, or Tad's on hold on line 2. And then he picks up. Oh, hey, Tad, how you doing? I'm not Tad. Oh, I'm so sorry. Joseph thought you were a friend of mine named Tad. He's apologetic. You have an apology going on. This is really to your favor. What can I do for you? Well, I'm with a company called Mom and Pop Business Funding. My name is Brett. The company I represent specializes in unsecured working capital for liquor stores. We go up to $1 million. We close these loans in 1 to 2 days. And I was simply calling today to see if you wanted to do a business loan with me or not. No, that's a closed-ended question. You're going to ruin everything. Let's back up a few words, a sentence or two, and say, and I was simply calling today to give you my contact information, to provide you with my contact information, however you want to say it. And that way, in the future, if you ever need any unsecured working capital for your liquor store, you have my information on hand. And that's when they say, yeah, give me a second. Or can you give me a second? I need to find something to write with. Yeah. What did you say? You guys do business loans? And they're unsecured? Yes, they are. And I can get this money that fast? Yes, you can. Well, what do I got to do to get started? Because to be honest with you, I've been with U.S. Bank now for 71 days, and I'm about ready to wring my loan officer's neck. Well, I'll get your email from you in a minute here, Frank, and I'll send you over an application. It's not much bigger than a bar napkin. You get that signed and dated, get it filled out to the best of your ability. And then when you send that back, send me back 6 months of your business bank statements from the most recent 6 months, and we'll have you an answer today, if not tomorrow. If you like what you see, you can move forward. If you don't, you're the one in charge. You just say no. Well, God, that sounds simple enough. What'd you say your name again was? It's Brett. God, Brett, thanks for calling me. You bet, Frank. No problem. What's your email? And he gives you the email. Here we go. We're off and running. Okay? All right. Any questions about any of the telemarketing scripts I gone over for Black Envelope, regular scripts, and using a friend type method? Go ahead. Now's the time. Everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so what if they say to me, who's calling? Go ahead, one of you say it to me right now.
Who's calling?
All right, your name's Joseph. I want you to be Joseph. I want you to use that voice influx. Who's calling? Like you're inquisitive. Go ahead, do it.
Hey, this is Joseph. Who's calling?
It's Brett. Now, what is he going to do on the other end of the phone? He's going to run up the attic quick, look around, come back down and say to himself, that's right, that's that one guy. God, Brett, I'm so sorry. I apologize. Let me get Frank for you quick. It's funnier than hell. When you get to that second degree, and believe me, the only time you're ever going to get there is when you're not real convincing out front. And every once in a while, I'll get there myself over the years where I haven't been real convincing. Maybe I'm preoccupied with what's going on in your home or what's going on at the hotel when I'm with you guys and I'm calling you, ladies and gentlemen, I'm calling from the hotel and we've all got the headset on. Maybe I'm just preoccupied. Maybe I've had one of those moments where I'm just not really convincing. And then Joseph goes, who's calling? And I'm like, it's Brett. And they're like, oh, I'm so sorry, Brett. He's right here. You get an apology. It's Susan. Like, come on, you idiot. You know who it is. I call here all the time. It's Susan. But you're not going to say, come on, you idiot. I call here all the time. You're just going to say, it's Susan. And he's going to be like, oh, that's right. That's Susan. Okay, Susan, yeah, give me a second. He's right here. And then Frank gets on the phone. Now, more often than not, Frank's going to think you're Susan or Bill or Bob or Tammy because Joseph is a great gatekeeper or receptionist. And he's going to tell him, it's Tammy on line 1 because he thinks he knows who you are because the only people on the face of the planet that would ever do this is friends and family members of Frank's. No telemarketing firm would ever do this. I've taught this method throughout the world, received as much as $250,000 for this training, and trained telemarketing rooms how to use this method. And I can tell you right now, it's been a life-changing event for us. In 1997, I came up with this method when I owned a worldwide telemarketing company in 9 different countries. And we became a company that started, we've made billions of dollars off of this sales pitch since then in gross revenue in the mortgage industry and this industry by using that method, that friend method, as opposed to a standard telemarketing method. Hi, my name's Brett Martin. I'm with Mom and Pop Business Funding. I was calling to see if I could talk to the business owner or the decision maker. Click. No, they're not available today. No, they're not in today. Click. And you're on to the next one. That's why we don't like telemarketing. Most of us is we don't like rejection and we don't like to have to make 150, 200 calls a day. That's a lot of work. So this natural transition takes place or crossroad, more like it, takes place where your fight or flight response kicks in. Many of you have heard of this. It's really trending right now. It's crazy how I hear about this, about the fight or flight response. Look at your screen here and understand you're all hardwired with this. And this is more often than not why we don't do things. A fight or flight response is a physiological trigger by the body when it perceives a threat, causing a surge of hormones like adrenaline that prepare the body to either confront the danger, fight, or quickly escape from it, flight. And so that's what you do. That's what this guy did that gave me the bad report. He chose, as opposed to fight, to flight. And because he flew, he needed to place blame. None of us actually say, you know what, it's my fault. I didn't do any Craigslist. I didn't do any black envelope. I did not go to Chamber of Commerce meeting. I didn't go to parking garages. I did nothing that you introduced me to. You made it sound way too easy. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick my boot up your ass and give you a bad review. Welcome to America, right? That's the world we live in right now. We're just all so critical. And we're the judge and the jury and the lynchman. And now we're going to take you down the road, find the nearest tree, and hang you. Gotcha. I gotcha. It's like, what the hell is up with people? Well, you know what, folks? I remember this verbatim, sitting at stoplights, and I would see the sticker on the back of the bumper, and it said, mean people suck, on the bumper sticker. I mean, go to my blog at www.momandpopbusinessfunding.com and look at my blog. I even have that picture underneath the blog. It's green. And it's that bumper sticker about mean people. We're going to start getting you ready for tomorrow. Our staff is going to be working diligently today, all day, to get you ready for tomorrow. What's tomorrow? We're going to put you on a team. You're all going to have a team captain. We call them national sales managers. You're all going to have a team captain called a national sales manager. Now, she, he, they don't know a lot about these loans. We don't teach them about that. It's more of an administrative position. We don't want them to have any experience because then they're going to try and train you. And we don't want them to train you. The only thing they can train you on is how to get the information over to them, the bank statements and the application. So they're like a processor or an administrative person. They make a ton of money on your production, and they're there strictly to be in a position where they're
Lost audio.
Yeah, we can't hear you, Brett. Sylvester, you should probably signal to him since you're like next to his box.
Hey, Brett, can you hear me? The audio's gone out.
He must not be looking at the video feed.
Indeed.
Can everybody wave their hand at the same time? All at the same time.
Lost audio.
Yeah, I think he's just following along or whatever it is he's trying to say.
Try it again all at the same time. Everybody.
I just sent him a text so his team can see it. They should be there.
Sent him one too.
Thank you.
I don't think he's looking at that. Anyway,
Can that be fixed when?
maybe if we log out and log back in, I don't know.
I think he just saw my text.
It could
Just
be
give
on
him a
his
second.
end.
Give him a
It could be
second.
it could be on his end, really.
Hey Shane, is there a way to recoup that? There you go.
It was probably pretty important what he was saying towards the end too. 'Cause it was like, what the scripts and stuff.
I think he's addressing it. His staff knows. Just give him a second.
I'm back. My audio went out. I'm back. My audio went out. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you
Can
now.
you hear me now?
I hear you,
Yes.
yeah.
I can hear you.
Okay. Sean, thanks a ton.
You're
Sean,
welcome.
they just told me about it. Thanks a ton.
You got it.
All right. I apologize to everyone. I went out probably 3-4 minutes ago. Okay. Your national sales manager is not your boss. Your national sales manager is not your trainer. Okay. They are not your boss. They are not your trainer. They're not your boss. They're not your trainer. I'm not your boss. You're an independent contractor. You got to get that through your head. We work for you. You don't work for us. We work for you. We're here to help you. We help you, it helps us. You help the customer, it helps you, and it helps us. So, going forward, your national sales manager may be brand new. The moment they get their question from you, they're going to send it right over to my division. And my division is going to answer the question. Don't bypass your manager and reach out to me and my team. Go through your manager. Because as your manager becomes more mature, they're going to know how to answer your question going forward. And a lot of them do. Some of them don't. No big deal. Again, these are not people, most of them, almost all of them, do not do.
Went out again?
Seems to have
He's out
him.
again.
Oh.
We're sorry, but some participants
back
may
again.
be
I'm back
experiencing
again.
temporary audio issues. Our teams
I'm
are
back
working
again.
to resolve this as quickly as possible.
I could hear you. I don't know about everyone else.
I can hear
Okay,
you.
what's happening is I'm getting a recording from free conference call that's saying that some participants are having problems with audio and that they're working on it right now. So for the first time ever, we're having trouble with audio. We've never had trouble with audio before. I don't know what to say, and I don't care. So I'm just going to drive on, okay? I'm certainly not going to psychoanalyze it, sit here and have tea with you while we all try and figure out what the hell's going on. It is what it is. Welcome to data. So let me keep going here. I'm not your boss. Your national sales manager is not your boss, okay? So going forward, if for some reason you want to get off your team, you're very welcome to get off your team. You don't have to stay on the same team. You're very welcome to get off that team, okay? All you have to do is reach out to Brett@mppfunding.com and say, hey, I need to be on a new team or I need a new national sales manager. Don't worry, we're not going to put you and them on the phone together with one another. Again, we're not going to put you and them together on the phone with one another. We're not even going to let them know that you've gone, that you've left. If you want to let them know that you've left their team, you're very welcome to. All right? Now, if for some reason you want to complain, then make sure it's legitimate. Hey, you know, he's too sexual, or he cusses a lot, or she cusses a lot, or she's too sexual, or maybe they're a racist, or maybe they're too religious, you know, or too political, then yeah, we want to hear about it in that case, for sure. We definitely want to hear about it. But again, we're not going to get you on the phone, them on the phone, and try and work it out. It never works. I matured way past that 35, 40 years ago. We just don't do that at all, okay? So you're going to graduate tomorrow morning via email. Give it time. We will not miss you so long as you've received a welcome package and a duplicate welcome package and the recordings this week. You will also receive your graduation email. So any questions before we get out of here? Go ahead. Anyone, before we get out of here, go ahead.
Can we actually use some of these techniques if we are online doing?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I got a multitude of ways that people are doing it, to include AI delivery nowadays. More and more people. I just talked to a guy this morning early, and he's doing AI delivery. I was on the phone with him for an hour and a half, and he's just killing it. I was trying to figure out how he's getting business. So more and more people are becoming very effective with AI. But yeah, absolutely you can. All right, any other questions? Go ahead. All right, folks, you've been a great group this week. I can't thank you enough. I'm sorry for the audio problems there. I lost about 50% of you in the last 10 minutes. It is what it is. I don't know what to tell you, you know. That's why we don't use Zoom, by the way, and a lot of the other platforms is we had way more problems on them than we've ever had on freeconferencecall.com. So that's why we use this platform. But anyway, thanks a ton. We'll see you on the other side as soon as Monday. Look for emails from your national sales manager tomorrow introducing themselves. We will introduce you to them. We will graduate you tomorrow. We will also send out email to you inviting you to Monday morning meetings. Sean is on the phone right now. He's the president of the company. I don't know if he still is, but Sean, there he is. Sean, if you want to say hi, that's great.
Yeah. Hey, everyone. Nice to see everyone on here.
So he's going to be sending you an email inviting you all to a meeting next Thursday. Again, He's going to be inviting you all to a meeting next Thursday where it's a meeting where you can come and get your questions answered. Okay? So again, if you have any questions, just reach out to your national sales manager tomorrow morning, Saturday,
Brett?
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, anytime. Yeah, a second here. Give a second. And just ask them a question, and they'll get that question over to us. If they can't answer the question, we'll get it answered for you right back to your manager so they can get it back to you. Yeah, go ahead, Sean.
Yeah, regarding the next Thursday meeting, I had sent out an email last night, basically inviting
Yeah, I saw it.
To the meeting today, this afternoon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I just want to make sure that that you understood that it was today.
I know it is today. It shouldn't be for these people. These people haven't graduated yet. But if you did, that's okay. That's okay. If they want to come, they're very welcome to.
Oh, I see what you're saying. No, totally.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay. All right, everyone. Some of you, by the way, I saw that you want to be a national sales manager. Hop on that call today at 1 o'clock. There's a call 1 o'clock West Coast time. So I'll be on that call later on. So will Sean if you want to. We don't talk about that on this call. But anyway. Thanks again for joining us. Bye, Carolyn. Have a wonderful day. Bye, David. Bye, Gabriel. Have a wonderful day. Thanks for joining us, each of you. Jeffrey and Leonard, it's been a wonderful week. You guys have been a great group. Thanks a ton for being there for us this week. Bye-bye now, everyone. Have a wonderful day. Thanks again for joining us. Thank you, ma'am. Have a wonderful day. Have a great weekend if I don't talk to you folks before then. Thanks again for joining us today and this week. Bye-bye now, everyone. Go get them. Have a wonderful day. Be good people, by the way. America needs more good people now more than ever. Bye-bye now.